Hey, hello folks, welcome back to Deer Corner. Caught me at the best time of the month, receipts. The end of every month I go through all my receipts and get them listed, put them where they go, put them in what envelope for what property, here at the house, up in the mountains, the Kentucky property, etc. Go through my receipts and separate them. And I love doing it. It's a good chore. But kind of tells me how much I'm spending. And that's one of the key reasons I do it. How much I'm spending where. Keep track of it. And that comes to another thing. An email that I got. Ivan sent me an email. Pretty long email. Talks about learning deer, being out in the woods, and learning the habitat, how the deer move, when they move, their routine. And yeah, it puts a better edge on you as a deer hunter if you're in the woods. Right now it's raining. Good day to catch up on my receipts and my bills. And myself, I'm going to try to get paid up till the first of the year. That way I don't have nothing to worry about during deer season. But Ivan, he wrote a pretty good email and a couple questions in there that I have seen YouTubes and several videos on the subject. And one of the subjects, I never shoot a deer on the run. Never did, don't like it, don't care for it. I don't care to shoot at a deer on a dead run for the reason that I may have a bad shot, I'll wound the deer gets by, can't find him, ruins a hunt for me in the future and ruins somebody else's hunt by shooting at a running deer. I just don't do it. And I've seen people do it and I've heard of people do it. And a couple of years back I actually helped track down a deer that went over a quarter mile after he shot it. Went a very, very long ways, and we found him in the dark, believe it or not. He was in the dark, we found him. If you go through a lot of YouTubes, a lot of videos, they tell you how to shoot a deer, and some of that I just don't. I understand it if you're a bow hunter, but a gun hunter, I don't understand it. I don't understand why they explain it to you this way, but I do not go for the lungs and the heart shot. Now, I don't do a body shot. So, the reason I'm looking at it that way is a heart shot with a gun is a 6x6 area. And you got to place that shot depending on what angle that deer is in. You're going to move that 6x6 area all the way around that deer, up the side, the shoulder, the down, the back, to hit that heart. And that gives you a 36-inch square area to place around, to put that deer down in an adequate area. I mean, the deer won't drop. The deer will move. He may go 5 feet, 10 feet, 20 feet. He may go a half mile. But I do not body shoot a deer. One of the major reasons I don't is I do not want to ruin the meat. I've seen where a whole quarter is wasted because of a body shot with a shotgun slug. So you wasted a whole quarter of meat. And about 18 years ago, 19 years ago, I was hunting up in the state of Maine. The guy's name was Richard. My brother and I hunted up there quite a few years, about 14 years straight. And I did a shot, took a deer down, very good shot. Clean shot. And that deer went 30 feet, but if you ever hunted up in Maine, it is so thick. And when we walked up on that deer, you virtually had to stand on top of that deer to see it. Only 30 feet away. You couldn't see it. You could walk past it if you didn't notice. And then that evening we were in eating supper, and he came up and we were talking. And I didn't know whether or not he was, talking, just talking, and he said, "You ever try neck shooting?" And I said, "No, we were just talking about that, and try neck shooting." He said, "Next time, try it. Try shooting a deer in the neck." Well, several weeks later, out deer hunting, I had a chance. And it stuck in my mind about what he was talking about, neck shooting. Now, neck shooting a deer, it's about 5 inches by 13 inches, not 6 by 6 on a neck shooting. And it comes out to about 65, 70 square inches, which is a heck of a bigger target. So I sat there and, okay, I'm going to try it. And I shot, hit that deer, and it dropped him right there. And that's been about 17 years ago. And I have never changed yet. Every deer I have dropped, I have never went 3 feet to retrieve that deer. It dropped him right there every time by neck shooting. And that's what I do. I neck shoot. And if you sit back and look at the square inches of a heart shot compared to a square inches of a neck shot, give it a try. You won't go walking after a deer. They drop right there. And back to running deer. I will not shoot at a running deer. And to answer another part of his question is, I do and I don't believe in grunt calls. I've had deer run from them. I've had deer stop and turn around. If a grunt call is as great as some people claim, you will see trucks lined along the road, walking in legally, maybe 50 feet in the woods, lined up like dove hunters, sitting in a chair, using a grunt call to call deer to them. I just don't see that. I don't see it happening. I don't see a grunt call used to bring deer to you. Now, I play with them, and in the past, yes, I have used a grunt call, turned around, and a buck came in. Now, whether or not that call brought him in, or I was just there at the right time, I still today don't believe it was the grunt call. Now, in the deer moving at a walk or a fast pace, and going somewhere, coming by you, and you wanting to stop that deer. Well, I have tried a grunt call, and that deer took off. Just like he's walking away from another buck he just tangled with, or something like that. I never had that good of luck. But in stopping a deer dead in his tracks, and I've used it several years in a row. Last year I used it twice and stopped the deer dead in their tracks. And I got my bag here. By the way, folks, I always pack a bag. When I go to the woods, I plan to stay the whole day. So I go in the dark and leave in the dark. If I get a deer, I'm out. If not, I hunt all day. So I pack for all day. But in my bag, I do have a call. And this call will stop a deer in his tracks every time. And it's nothing but a squirrel call. And if you've ever been in the woods as much as I have, and you've been in the woods, and you ever hear of a barking squirrel, and you look around, Now for instance, a red fox come by and a squirrel started barking. That red fox stopped to look what that squirrel was barking at. It was barking at him, but that fox didn't know it. That fox stopped dead in his tracks and started looking. You'll notice the birds looking. Even a crow will quit crowing and start looking when you hear a squirrel bark. And that will stop a deer dead in his tracks, because that deer will stop and start looking. And that's what I use. It's worked twice last year. I've been using it for years. So as far as stopping a deer on the move, that's what I use, a squirrel call. Simple, easy to use, easy to carry, and it works. And the other thing to his question is, when deer are feeding, and he mentioned about shooting a deer with his head down. Well, if you can see the deer's eyes, the deer can see you. His head down, up, sideways, anyway. If you can see the deer's eyes, he's going to see you. So with his head down, up, it don't matter. If you see his eyes, that deer can see you. But one thing I will explain about that. If a deer's down picking up acorns and eating up acorns and getting a mouth of acorns, depending on how many, a deer cannot swallow with his head down. A deer has to raise his head, chew it, and swallow. And a lot of people think, oh, that deer's spooked, he's got his head up, he's looking, he's seen me, except no. That's the same thing when they're eating grass, hay, clover, whatever. Soybeans. They'll get a mouthful, they'll come up, they'll chew it and swallow it. A deer can't swallow with his head down. It has to be up. So it does look like he's looking at you or looking for you. And you need to know the windage, and I'm not saying the windage percent. If you have a decent breeze blowing, move with the breeze. If you move slower than the breeze, you're going to stick out. If you move faster than the breeze or the wind, you're going to stick out and you're going to get noticed just that quick, just by your movement being off according to your surrounding areas. So that is a key thing on that. And there's a whole lot in the placing a shot. Like I say, I neck shoot, I don't body shoot. And stopping a deer when he's coming by, and even if it's just to give you a little edge, if you're in a thicket, you're in some brush, and that deer's very weary and looking, do the squirrel call. You'll stop him and give you time to shoot, time to place a good shot. So in all, deer hunting is a sport, but it's not only a sport, you improve in years. And I hope I answered a lot of the questions he sent. And I hope to see you again. And thanks for coming along. And like I say, when you're in the woods, be safe. You'd rather be safe than sorry. Things do happen and things can happen. And you have a good day.